this website would tell you how much like nudity is in it, how much swearing is in it, if it's safe for Christian kids to watch. And then they give it a rating based on that.
I remember that site. I would do the same thing. Whenever there was a movie that came out that I was curious about, I would look up and I would always be like, oh, there's nudity in it. And it would be like the two people kiss against a wall. And I would be like, oh my God.
I'm like touching myself.
I'm crying right now. Should we pray before we get started?
Oh my God. You looked so serious when you said that. Okay, you know what's funny? I'm wearing a skirt today, and I never wear skirts.
Is it a denim
I gotta
skirt?
say, no, it's like checkered.
Okay, that's cute.
It's cute, but like, I feel like I'm about to go to church.
You go to a pretty progressive church wearing that. Because you're
I don't
wearing
know.
a checkered black and white skirt. How long is it?
It's like calf length. It's pretty long.
That's pretty long. But you're also wearing a Smashing Pumpkins shirt.
Yeah.
That's not very Christian of you.
I guess not.
Yeah.
I'm wearing it because it has two cats getting married on the front.
Well, at least they're a boy and a girl.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, one's wearing a tux, and one's wearing a dress, so look at me being all cisgender normative over here.
That's what we do here.
Yeah.
We evangelize for the heterosexuals.
Yeah, especially if they're cats. It is. I woke up at 7:30, actually before 7:30 this morning. Naturally.
That's dedication.
So my brain, I did take my meds, so my brain is still like, what's happening right now?
My brain's always like that.
Yeah. Okay.
So this is our first time recording our new project.
Yes.
Do you want to say what it's called? And
all right. Hello. Welcome to Clothesline, where we're airing out all of the dirty laundry about all of the stuff people told us never to talk about. Disclaimer. This episode includes conversations about things like religious trauma, mental health, abuse, and other fun things like that. We are not doctors or psychologists or psychiatrists. This podcast is not intended to give official advice or anything serious. We're simply here to share our stories and talk about these things in a very real and human way. Our intention is for you to feel less alone, less crazy, and more supported. Now let's get into it.
that was so professional. This is episode 1 of Clothesline podcast. We've been working on this for a few months and somehow are still not prepared at all, but we'll roll with it. Do you want to just introduce ourselves?
Yeah, let's do that. Hello, kitty. God, I'm glad you're going to chop this up. Okay, let's start with names. I'm Syd. I'm they, them. I'm non-binary. I'm in my 30s. I am originally from a small town in Southeast Alabama, but I live in New Zealand. I was also in Asia for about 7 years, but I've been here in New Zealand for over a decade. And should I give some background about how this project came into my brain? So basically, I was in a long-term, really yucky relationship with a narcissist. And I'm very confident saying narcissist because of all of the therapy that I've had, all the research that I've done over the years since then. Then, after I managed to leave that relationship, I got into another short-term relationship with another narcissist who just presented differently. And after I managed to leave that relationship, long story short, I got here and now my life is really wonderful, but I am in therapy. And I was just fed up with not being able to talk about any of this. Why did I feel so insecure or like I was slandering these shitty people who treated me so badly, why did I feel like I had to stay silent to protect them? You know, that doesn't even make any sense, especially because they were like slandering me publicly. Like, why did I have to protect them? Why did I have to stay silent? And so I was like, you know what? I feel like a lot of times when you look at videos or podcasts or something like that, people are coming at it from like a very academic standpoint. And there are a lot of resources where people are sharing their stories and everything, but I feel like hearing from someone who is not an academic, someone who has a lot of experience in these areas and a lot of stories and kind of knows the ins and outs, you know, I really felt like I have a communication style that might really speak to people because it has like one-on-one through the years. I was like, whenever I talk to people online about it as well, it seems to really hit home. So I was thinking to start a project where I was talking about what all of those experiences were like. And then I was like, wait, but there's so many other areas of my life that tie into that. And then I started digging and digging. And I was like, okay, hold on. We just have to start from the very freaking beginning because all of this is so interconnected. And so I started posting on Threads which is the only social platform that I'm really on. And it's also the only one that I really enjoy, I guess. And I don't get on there unless, you know, it's like very intentional. But when I do get on there, I have a lovely time and there's lovely people on there. And so I started posting on Threads and I started asking people, basically, does anyone have a similar background, you know? And I had already told you about this, and you and I have really similar backgrounds as well. And literally, I have had several of these kind of open calls to people sharing their story go viral. Like the feedback, the way that people are just so hungry to connect with people who grew up in a similar way. I mean, people are like connecting in the comments. Like it's just crazy. It's so fun. And also like heartbreaking in a way. And so I was like,
bonding is so fun.
It's like so much fun. So that just really kind of cemented this idea that, you know, we do have a perspective that I feel like, especially at this moment, is really needed. And, you know, exactly kind of what you and I've talked about, like, we're not academics, we're simply people that have been through these experiences. And, you know, like I've shared a couple of my key moments of trauma already in these few minutes, you know, but yeah, that was just kind of the whole backstory for how I got this idea. And unfortunately, you were the one to, yeah, you were the one to receive all of my ramblings. So there we go. Your turn.
Wow. Thank you, Syd. That was beautiful. I know we're still being kind of vague. Like, you make several references to our background, and I realize we haven't said exactly what that background is yet. Some of that is about to become clear, but more of it, you're going to have to find out as you listen, because there's just too much lore to drop right at this moment. But I'm Chris. I'm also they, them. Realized I was gender fluid like 2 years ago in my I'm 33. So yeah, I came out later in life, and I've been talking on the internet for almost a decade now about addiction and mental illness and eating disorders, mental health shit. I talk about it on my other podcast, Pickles and Vodka, which is how Syd and I first started talking about this stuff again, because we actually have been friends for like 20 years. I realized this like when we were on I'm gonna like cut this all up. So God, already it's hard for me to keep track of like all the lore. Syd and I met on a website called Homeschooled Blogger in like 2006 or 7. Does that sound right?
Yeah, I think it would have been 2006.
So 20 years.
I don't think we were like 14. I think we were a little younger than that.
Yeah. Isn't that crazy?
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're one of my longest friends.
I know. And the crazy thing is, like, we've kept in touch, but we never really started talking in depth about this stuff until recently. I mean, I've been begging you to start a podcast since, I don't know. When did you come on Pickles and Vodka first? It must have been like 2021.
I was living in Nelson at the time, so it was 2019.
My cat is being so evil.
Why?
He won't stop screaming.
I didn't hear anything. He just wants love.
All right. Yeah, so the listeners probably don't know me at all because I'm not on Threads, but I've been talking about mental health online for a long time and deconstruction too. So like Syd, I grew up in a fundamentalist Christian religion, and I'm still dealing with the repercussions of that all these years later, even though I am no longer in the church. The effects are far-reaching, and it's not something that I've really felt comfortable talking about on my other podcast because I'm still figuring it out, right? Like I said at the beginning, the queer stuff is brand new to me. It's kind of like when you were thinking of your past relationships and how you kept falling for the same like type of person. That's how I felt dating men. But yeah, I have been feeling this pull to talk about this stuff for a while. I just didn't really know how. And every time I talk to you, like we've been sending each other long voice messages. And every time we're just like, we should be recording this stuff. We want to get other people's opinions because we know we're not the only ones. I am an avid listener of like deconstruction podcasts, and like you said, it's often professionals or people who have like come out on the other side and they're telling their story. And I don't know, I never really feel like I can relate to all of those because everything is so like tidily packaged, and I don't think that's what everyone needs.
Yeah, I'm absolutely sure that there are resources out there where people are talking about what it's like to kind of still be living through it. But I don't think those are the ones that get the main attention, you know? And I feel like we have some really interesting lore. Like a lot of our lives, there have been similar things that have happened, but also we've been through really different experiences. And I have not come across any sort of like ongoing project where the people have the depth of lore that you and I have. That's
Lord, why it's so hard to introduce ourselves.
I know.
It's so hard.
I
think some questions to answer are like why we're doing this, what gives us the right, and what we want out of it in the future.
And I think ultimately, like, it boils down to we're creating something that we would listen to, that we would watch. We're creating something that we need actively and that we could have utilized in years past that might have given us a little more peace than what we had. I guess it's kind of like, you know, you hear that, write the book you want to read. And like, as cheesy as that is, it's actually really sound advice, especially as deep as this stuff goes and as hard as it is to talk about. We have to be connected to it in some way. And I think because it hits so deep and because we really understand the pain that comes along with being raised in this very particular way and then going through the things that we have, I just think this is a very valuable resource for a lot of people. And ultimately, like, we don't want it to feel untouchable. We don't want it to feel like we only have academics and scholars and people who, you know, deconstruct the Bible verse by verse, because that's just personally not our style, you know?
I don't know. I feel like often people on the other side of deconstruction are portrayed as like, they're happy, they have their shit together. And I don't know about you, but I don't feel like that at all.
You still have like voices in the back of your head telling you all of these wonderful things that we were brainwashed with growing up.
Okay.
Sucks to be you.
So, well, first of all, yes, it does. I feel like as someone who has stepped away publicly from my religion of origin and has been outspoken about it, I feel like now if I admit that things are not only not better on the other side, but in some ways they're worse, because like I don't have that church community I used to have. I don't have, my parents' full esteem and approval. And in some ways to admit that feels like an admission that they're right. Like, I'll only be happy if I go back to sticking my head under the sand and believing what they believe. Like, I think those of us who have stepped away, there is that pressure to kind of put on an act like we're tough, like we're survivors. And I don't feel like that at all. And that's a lot of the feedback I get from people who hear my story is like, you're such a survivor, you're so strong. And like, I'm really not. And I don't know what I'm talking about.
But you do, though, because that's so real and that's such a real experience.
Yeah, I need to stop being so like self-deprecating. But we both do that, right? We've had so many unique experiences in the world, and we do have a lot to say about it.
Yeah. And I mean, that's the point, is to just, like I was saying earlier, make people who are still kind of living through this feel like they're not losing their minds, because the amount of people who have never voiced, myself included, that admitting that things are still affecting me and that, leaving the religion, leaving the belief system has had such a huge impact on my current life. I don't think I've ever said that out loud, but I certainly have been thinking it for the last freaking over a decade since I officially left,
Yeah. It's hard to admit.
Yeah. I would not have even thought to say that out loud because I'm so used to keeping it in my head,
Yeah. We got to be honest on this podcast because otherwise, what's the point?
Should we go back to the beginning real quick? When we were 13-ish, you're a little older than me. You're a few months older than me, aren't you?
July 92.
Okay, yeah. You're like 6 months older than me.
I was supposed to be born in September, but I was 3 months premature.
Whoa, really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that about you.
And you know what's funny? I was looking up last night at like 2 a.m. what are the long-term effects of being born premature? And a lot of people were like, oh, there's increased risk for anxiety and depression and lung problems. And I have all three of those. And then one person in the comments was like, I don't know if this has anything to do with it, but I'm also really tall and lanky. And I'm the tallest woman in our family.
I think we talked about this like probably 10 years ago, but I think you're even a little taller than me.
I'm 5'8".
Oh, I'm taller than you. You have this aura of like being like 5'11". You have like
God.
You've got like a 6 foot tall aura.
I'm blushing. Oh my God. I also wear a lot of platform boots.
I also love wearing stomper boots. And now that I'm in a relationship with someone who's 6'4", I also love being able to wear stomper boots and not having to slouch.
Yeah, stomper boots come with the territory, I think.
Yeah. I mean, I always did anyway, but, that's just another one of those gendered things. It's like, oh, why can't I be the taller one?
So when we started on Homeschool Blogger, I'm really curious, like, what our lives looked like back then. Because I was living in Illinois with my family of 9. I'm the oldest of 7. I can't believe I forgot to mention that. And we were raised really, really strictly. And so homeschoolblogger.com was the first social website I was allowed to be on. That was the first time I was allowed to like talk to strangers on the internet because it was like safe. And it was very nerdy. Like I was really into Lord of the Rings at the time. So my username was Elvish. I don't even remember what your username was back then.
I have no idea. I mean, I don't even think there's any way that I could have gone back and figured out what my username was. I think I
How
would
did
probably...
you find Homeschool Blogger?
My mom found it. So this is not for this episode. Like, I'll talk about it eventually, but some stuff happened when I was 12 and I was forbidden from like technology, and it was a whole thing. It was so yuck. But then later when I was 12, or like I think maybe early when I was 13, the internet was just kind of becoming like a thing, you know? And my mom was like, I found this website. It's called Homeschool Blogger. Like, all the kids on here are homeschooled. She regarded it as like a safe online space that I could be on, so I could connect with other like Christian homeschooled kids around. I think it was probably the US only. And I don't even...
There was a New Zealander there.
Was there?
Yeah, I'm still friends with her on Facebook.
Oh my God, you need to connect us. That's very funny. That's a very small world because there's like 4 people in New Zealand. But yeah, and I don't remember the interface or what kind of stuff I was posting or how in the heck we found each other. I don't remember any of that. I just remember like looking at your blog and you had this cool elvish name, and I just thought you were like Hot Snot. I was like, this person
Hot
is
Snot.
So cool. Yeah, Hot Snot.
Yeah, with my green layout.
Yeah, it was green. It was like so earthy and like magical. And I was like, bro, this is my jam in whatever 13-year-old terms would be. Like,
wow.
Yeah.
I really wish I still had access to that blog.
I know. Is that website even still going? Probably not.
I don't think so.
Yeah. I think it was fairly short-lived.
It was designed to be, like, they wanted it to look like blogspot.com, so it was designed kind of similarly, but like it wasn't as good.
Yeah. I remember it being a little like challenging to navigate.
Yeah, the layouts, you had to know like HTML.
Yeah, but I had been on Neopets
customize
before.
Things.
So I was like actually pretty fluent in HTML. Like when I think about the kind of stuff that I was programming on Neopets, I'm like, where are those brain cells now? Like, how was I so freaking smart back then? And now I'm like, I can do like a line break. You know?
Yeah, it's crazy. I used to design whole websites from scratch. And now,
I remember.
like, the thing is, now everything is site builders. There's really no need for it anymore.
Yeah, I went through a lot of years where people were paying me to build websites. And honestly, you know, I was like, listen, unless you're going to hire me to maintain this website for as long as your business or brand is going to go, I'm just going to use one of these site builders because it's going to be easier for you to maintain yourself.
Exactly.
Gone are the days of being a webmaster.
Yeah. Oh, my heart just like twinged a little when you said that. I don't think my younger siblings could even describe what a webmaster is.
Really?
No. They don't, like, they were never on forums or, I don't know. Now I'm thinking of all the Christian sites I used to go to.
What were some of the other ones?
Plugged In Online. I think it's Focus on the Family, actually. But it's their movie review website. It's a Christian movie review website. And because we weren't allowed to watch most movies, the only way I got to experience them was by reading reviews. So I would always read reviews of all the movies that were out. And this website would tell you how much like nudity is in it, how much swearing is in it, if it's safe for Christian kids to watch. And then they give it a rating based on that.
I remember that site because
that was one of my favorites.
I would do the same thing. Whenever there was a movie that came out that I was curious about, I would look up and I would always be like, oh, there's nudity in it. And it would be like the 2 people kiss against a wall. And I would be like, oh my God.
I'm like touching myself.
I'm crying right now.
No, literally though.
Oh my God.
Listen, when you don't have access to porn, you get so creative. I'm pretty sure I used to use the dictionary even.
I probably did at some point. Oh my gosh. I so remember.
Yeah, take my sweater off.
Yeah, I know. Oh my
It's getting a little toasty in here.
Woo! Yeah, God, I would read
what else
reviews
was
from
there?
like, oh, I don't
At some
remember.
point, we need to talk about the specific like cults we were in, because I feel like that's another area where we diverge. And as we gain a listenership, I'll be really curious to hear like where our listeners are coming from too. So my dad was a Presbyterian minister. He was big into, well, I say was, he's still a Christian. He's still alive. He teaches at a Christian college now, but he's big on like Calvinism. So everything is predestined. You don't have any control in life. You're either good or bad. And then on top of that, my mom, she worked for Bill Gothard before she met my dad. I don't know if you know who Bill Gothard is.
I didn't know that about. Wow.
He is in their wedding photos. Actually, when she met my dad, she was working for Bill Gothard.
Wow. Yeah. Your lore
so
just
we
deepened.
we grew up with all of those materials, mostly like Abeka, but then the official like IBLP materials are expensive, so we only used them for like a few years. But yeah, it was a lot of shame and guilt and rolling over and taking it, basically. And that's all I want to say about it for now. But I'm curious how your experience is similar and different.
What flavor of Presbyterian were y'all?
Evangelical.
Okay, because we were PCA. So,
ooh, okay.
Yeah, which is, if you know anything, so Presbyterianism has like, don't quote me on this, but I think it's like over 20 different like subtypes of Presbyterianism. And
they all judge each other.
They all judge each other. Yeah. So like the other Presbyterian church in my hometown, we kind of poo-pooed them because they were like the more quote, quote, liberal and more progressive, you know, like one of their pastors was a woman at some point, and that was like a huge no. And there was just an uproar. So I grew up PCA, which is arguably one of the most, if not the most, kind of conservative Presbyterianisms. So my dad grew up that way. My mom grew up Methodist. And when she married or started dating my dad, they obviously went to the same church, and she just latched onto it. When I was living in Hong Kong, one of my friends at the time came over to my house in Alabama because they were from Georgia. And oh my gosh, it was so awkward. They were sitting on the sofa, and my mom was like sitting in front of them, just being like, when I found PCA and like Calvinism and, you know, the whole like tulip stuff and predestination, like everything fell into place, and started like literally talking about like the points of Calvinism. And yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it was wild. So she like fully jumped into it. And I was so embarrassed in that moment. I was so embarrassed. Yeah.
My family always embarrassed me.
Did they ever like talk to your friends about it, or?
Well, the biggest thing was we would pray at mealtimes, and we had like a chant we would do that ended with a clap. And we would do it in front of our friends, and it was really embarrassing. We would also read devotionals at every meal, and if friends stayed over, they had to sit through it too. I didn't have a ton of friends growing up because we moved around so much. My dad was in the military, so we were only ever in one place for like 3 years. So I would normally just like latch onto kids in my neighborhood. So my best friend, when we lived in Connecticut, I know her mom was Hindu, and so now I cringe like thinking of all the stuff she probably got subjected to at our house. And then it's ironic because like I feel like our parents tried so hard to shelter us from outside influences.
I'm so curious about this chant that ended with a clap.
Ugh.
You don't have to do it.
Do you want me to say it?
If you want to.
It's really simple.
I would love that.
Caroline! Okay, I thought she might have been in the next room still. She's not. I was going to ask her to sing it with me. Okay, so everyone has to hold hands. So hold my hand.
One of those families. Okay, I'm holding your hand.
Yeah. And then you go, thank you, Father, for this food in Jesus' name, amen.
Wait, that was the blessing before the meal?
Yes.
That's so simple.
No. That was at the end of whatever personalized prayer the prayer leader said. So, like,
oh,
my dad would say a prayer like, thank you for the weather and for this, and I don't know. And then the transition would be, and now. So when Dad said,
thank
and
you,
now,
Father, for them.
Everyone...
Amen.
Yep, you got it.
That's amazing.
Oh, God.
Wow.
Like, sweating.
Yeah.
Your family didn't do anything weird like that?
I mean, so we had a song that we sometimes sang about Johnny Appleseed, and...
That's not biblical.
I mean, the Christians have claimed Johnny Appleseed, even though I recently learned that he was basically like planting all of those apple trees to make cider.
Wait, he was a real person?
Yeah, he was a real person. The story is actually pretty fascinating, but like he was planting the apple trees so that people could make cider, probably illegally. And so
yeah, and get drunk.
Yeah, exactly. But the Christians have claimed him, and so as far as we were concerned, he was, a biblical adjacent figure.
This is news to me.
Yeah, that was a little frowned upon in our family because that was just kind of like a cop-out. Like, oh, why don't you want to like actually use your brain and pray? But we weren't a like holding hands while you pray family. We were very much like a, keep to yourself. And I remember feeling really awkward and uncomfortable when I went to friends' houses and they would like all hold hands and I would be like, ugh! I don't know if that was like, my autism or just like connecting with someone on that level because I wasn't used to connecting in like a physical way with people when it was spiritual, Yeah. Yeah, so I felt like really uncomfortable about that. Like my granddad said the exact same thing for his before meal prayers every single time, but we had to come up with something organic at home. We had to put some creativity into it.
So Johnny Appleseed.
Yeah, Johnny Oh, you want me to sing it?
Yeah.
Oh no.
It's only fair.
Oh no, but yours was a chant. This is a song.
I mean, it's up to you.
Okay. You might not put this in because it might suck. But it went, oh, the Lord's been good to me, and so I thank the Lord for giving me the things I need, the sun and the rain and the apple trees. The Lord's been good to me.
That's cute.
Do you know what? That actually popped in my head a few months ago, and I was in the kitchen, like, doing something, maybe feeding the cat or whatever, and I just randomly started singing, oh, the Lord's been good to me. I was like, why am I singing this right now?
You know what I started singing yesterday while I was waiting for my sister to, like, join me for a movie?
Oh, God, what?
Oh, where is my hairbrush?
Oh, my God.
Oh, where is my hairbrush? And now you have it stuck in your mind, too.
Wait, hold on a minute.
It's VeggieTales.
Oh my God.
Please tell me you watched VeggieTales.
Of course.
Okay.
I completely blocked that out of my mind. Like 100.
This is probably going to happen every episode.
No, seriously, I was just talking with someone on Threads like a few days ago, and like I said something I think that unlocked a memory for them, and then they said something. No, I don't think I unlocked anything for them. They said something that completely unlocked, like buried. So funny. And I was like, if you ever have any of these like unlocked memories, please share them with me. And they sent me like a screenshot of the old, I think they were from like the 80s or 90s Christian cartoon McGee and Me.
We watched that too!
Yeah!
Oh my God.
Like, I literally never ever would have remembered that. Ever.
Oh my God, that's crazy. There was a whole host of programs like that.
Yeah.
That we watched.
We had these cassette tapes, Adventures in Odyssey. And one of my core memories of that, there was one about with a character called Eleazar. And I don't know, my dad would just always say Eleazar all the time in like a really funny voice. And I don't remember that story at all. I just remember my dad going Eleazar in a funny voice. But the one about Lazarus stuck in my head. This is the guy who rose from the dead, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Again, like I said, I've blocked out so much of this stuff, and that's why I'm in therapy. But one of my other core memories is completely unrelated to the content. And so, like, Mom and me were driving back from my grandparents' house about an hour and a half away. And I had the window cracked a little, and there was like a giant bug, and it must have been really scary looking because I started like freaking out. And so I rolled the window all the way down, and it like wouldn't move. Like it wanted to stay right there on the top, like right by where the window rolls down, right? And my mom was like, just put it outside, put it out, like just put it out the window. You're still just driving along the highway. And I grabbed the case with all the Adventures in Odyssey cassettes, and I was like bumping it, trying to like freaking out. And I was like bumping this bug out the window, but I freaked out so much that I let go of the case. So the bug and the case with all the cassette flew out the window on the highway.
Oh my God.
So then now it's a fiasco, and Mama had to pull over, and then we had to run back, and we had to go in the middle of the highway and pick up all of these cassette tapes. And I don't remember how badly they were. I think a couple of them still worked, but I think they were like pretty fucked.
I have a tactile memory of that case you're talking about.
Yeah, like, with it has like a ridge.
Yep. Yep. And it would get cracked sometimes and like cut you.
Yeah, that thing was dangerous. That was some hard plastic. Yeah. Could have been a weapon.
Well, I would say focus on the family is a weapon of sorts.
I see what you did there.
Have you heard of the podcast I Hate James Dobson?
I think I've heard of it, but I haven't listened yet. Is it good?
It's so good. It's a queer sex therapist, former evangelical in Chicago, who's forcing his secular coworker to read all of the James Dobson books and materials. And it's horrifying and hilarious. But it's bringing up a lot of memories in me also that are just like, holy shit, I forgot about that. Like, Dobson wrote a book called To Train Up a Child.
Yeah.
And I remember that book on our bookshelf growing up, and it was just normal. You know, parents were supposed to dole out discipline. Like, that's the natural order of things. You're supposed to be subservient if you're a kid. And yeah, all the Adventures in Odyssey stories were like that. They were like kids overstepping their protective, like, parameters and getting burnt in the process. I don't know. I gobbled that shit up, though.
Yeah, we had a lot of focus on the family in our house.
Mm-hmm.
A lot. I mean, we had a lot of stuff adjacent to that as well, but my mom especially loved focus on the family. We ate up a lot of their materials. What was like one of the main ways that you got disciplined when you were a kid?
Spanking. My dad would use like a rubber flip-flop, and it hurt a lot. And then when we were too old for that, we would just get things taken away. I didn't get in trouble a lot because I was the responsible oldest, and so I don't know, mostly just like take privileges away. So like we wouldn't be allowed to go outside, or we wouldn't be allowed to use the computer, which didn't bother me because I always had books. I mean, I think that's one reason you and I clicked so much too, is because we were both like nerdy homeschoolers who loved to read, and still are, minus the homeschool part.
Well, we were though. You were homeschooled all the way through, right?
I went to a private Christian school for my senior year of high school.
Okay.
That was it. Because I had the choice of being homeschooled or not, and I wanted the 1 year of experience before college. I'm glad I did it, but it was a very alienating experience. That was when I started cutting myself and like throwing up. And it got really dark there for a while at that school. But I'm still glad I did it, because otherwise it would have been an even rougher transition to college.
Yeah, I didn't ever go to school, so I was homeschooled all the way through.
Gold star homeschooler.
Gold star. So like I could have graduated when I was 16. I'd done all of the credits. But I was like, I'm 16. What am I going to do? So I basically got to I'd been designing my own curriculum, honestly, since I was like 13, because at that point, my my brother's 8 years younger, my sister's 9.5 years younger. And, that's a pretty close age gap, and they were pretty young at that point, and requiring a lot of care. So it really became my responsibility to plan out my entire curriculum from the age of 12 or 13. And it was something that I enjoyed doing. And it definitely gave me a good idea of the kind of stuff that I was interested in and the kind of stuff that I really wanted to pursue. So, my last couple years of high school, I was able to just kind of coast, and do stuff that I enjoyed, researching certain historical periods or biology. I really loved biology, stuff like that. But I became dually enrolled in the local community college from 17, I think. So I was able to get my first, I think, year and a half of credits done before I left at 19 for Hong Kong. I mean, it worked out pretty well, but it was definitely like we were part of a homeschool group. So for certain subjects.
Like a co-op.
Yeah. And a lot of the moms in the group, the dads were strangely absent. A lot of the moms in the group were teachers before they had kids and decided to homeschool. So, I think it could be worse. But that was kind of getting my feet wet into the experience of being in a classroom. Mm-hmm. I think it was a little intimidating walking into a classroom. And this is also unlocking memories. Like I would see people walking in the classroom and just like knowing what to do.
Yeah.
And just immediately knowing where in the room they wanted to sit. Sitting down, feeling so easy, just leaning back, just kind of like checking out the books, just kind of like looking at their hands,
Talking to each other, acting like they all knew each other, even though it was the first day.
Yeah, sometimes they knew each other. And I felt so weird. I
still feel like that.
Yeah, and I won't say that I didn't have any social skills. I'm just naturally more of a shy person, which I think is related to being various flavors of neurodivergent. Because I was on the swim team, I was very involved with, all of the local tours of the historic homes in my hometown. I remember that, Yeah, so I had lots of experience, like, with people and social skills and all kinds of interactive things. But in an academic setting, my brain was just like a bit scared, I guess, is the best way to put it. I was anxious, and it was easier for me to connect with the teacher than it was with the students.
Same.
Really?
Yeah, I went to 3 colleges. I ended up graduating online, which I found I preferred because I didn't have to interact with people. But yeah, the first college I went to was Oral Roberts University in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Very infamous in some circles. And I was there for 2.5 years, and then I dropped out because I became an atheist and I couldn't afford it anymore. Yeah, and then I did community college, and then finally, when I was working at Starbucks, they paid for me to go to Arizona State University online. So I ended up getting my degree from there. But yeah, I always just felt like a fish out of water. And I still do feel like this, that everyone else has been given instructions in advance. And I know that's like a common feeling for neurodivergent people to have. Because now, almost all of my friends are neurodivergent. And this is something we all share. It's just like feeling like we're missing something. And I think the fact that we were raised in such a strict Christian environment where we were like sealed off from the rest of the world and taught to see our fellow like humans as corruptors, like corruptive forces. Any sort of curiosity about the world was just like tamped down as like temptation or whatever. And so yeah, it was weird. I was at that Christian school, but I saw that a lot of the kids didn't grow up as strictly as I had, you know, or some of them were even more strict than me. And so it was interesting to see that, oh, there's a range, and a lot of this stuff is just arbitrary. And yeah, that was one of my like wake up calls, of which there have been many over the years.
Yeah, I mean, our family wasn't the type of family to like force you to wear denim skirts and long sleeve button ups every day and, you know, we weren't like cutting your hair is a sin, or, that more extreme kind of type of belief system and family. I mean, I guess someone would look at us and see that like, oh yeah, they're strict, but, they're not like some of these sensationalized homeschool families.
Like the Duggars.
Like the Duggars.
We always got compared to the Duggars.
Really? I mean, because there were 7 of you,
We went to the Basic Life seminar that Bill Gothard did one year, and we were like one of the smaller families there.
That doesn't surprise me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We were like pretty liberal compared to everyone else. Like we could wear jeans. They couldn't be tight, but like after a certain point, our mom caved.
Yeah.
But as the oldest, I got all of the rules like right when they were first being formed, and then they were like, oh, this doesn't work so well.
Yeah. Like by the time my siblings had grown up, my parents were like, we're done. Like, that's fine. Just wear it. And I'm like, I never would have been allowed to wear that. It would have just been something like, I don't know, like a spaghetti strap shirt or something. But I remember being really jealous of my sister being like, why can you wear that? And I was never able to wear that.
Did you ever visit the Modesty Survey website?
Probably.
Do you know what I'm talking about? If any listener knows what I'm talking about, hit Syd up on Threads, because purity culture was really a huge thing back then, and I think like now it's coming back in a big way, like to kind of wrap it up into the present moment. Like it's been really disturbing to me to see that stuff gain popularity again, because like I worked so hard to get out of it, and my like one hope is that the new generations wouldn't have to go through what I went through. And now it's just happening again, and these people are still in power. And it's really fucking dark.
I probably know what you're talking about with the Modesty Survey website. I probably blocked it out. But we did have special events and courses and classes in the homeschool group, and also, on top of all of this narrative at the church as well on modesty. And it also depended on whose house was I at. Like I had friends that when I went over there, I wasn't allowed to wear any sort of tank top in the middle of Alabama summer, Wow. And it was really awkward being at a pool or the beach or the lake with anyone who like, if there were boys around, I was constantly, but it's weird. It was very much like a context thing. So I was a competitive swimmer for 8 years. So if we were like in the pool or at a meet competing, I didn't have that same, like I definitely still had some level of insecurity, especially the older I got, with the body dysmorphia and everything. But if it was like a more leisure context, I just like almost couldn't even enjoy myself because I was too self-conscious of like, oh my God, what if they're looking at me and that type thing. And as I got older, it just became humiliating because I started to have to like hide myself as a whole in different ways than I ever had as a kid. It was a whole experience. And, then seeing my brother and sister being raised like quite differently. I mean, still like very similar, but I think because of that age gap, things were like a lot easier for them.
I don't know if I've told you this, but I have 2 sisters who are the exact ages of your siblings.
I think
so. One's 8 years younger than me, and one's 9.5 years younger than me.
So 2000, 2002.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like I knew that somewhere in my head. Yeah. I think I knew that.
But yeah, the modesty stuff, I can't remember a time where I wasn't aware of my body. Even like before puberty, we were being told to cover up. This might have been when we met on Homeschool Blogger around the same time. I was in Girl Scouts, and we went on this like camping trip to Cape Cod, and I was so excited. I thought we were going to get to go camping, but it was just like we just stayed in a hotel and like went on a bike ride and went to a gift shop, and that was it. But I had to buy swim shorts because not only did we have to have a one-piece swimsuit, we had to have swim shorts too. And the swim shorts I had were like rubbing against my thighs that whole day. And that night I had like these red welts where the swim shorts had been rubbing against my thighs all day. And I don't know, I feel like that triggered me in a way I had never felt before. And I'd be lying if I didn't say it probably has something to do with my eating disorder, like that feeling of I don't know. But that's a memory that like sticks out to me.
That's like physical evidence of these expectations that are placed upon you.
Yeah. We were, I'm just, if I ever just like go quiet awkwardly, it's because I have a million stories just like running through my head and I don't know what to say.
Same.
So that's us.
I feel like this was a pretty
What
good
is-
first discussion.
What is your vision for this? Like, what do you want to do with it in the coming months? How do you want listeners to get involved?
I mean, I think both of us are getting so much out of people just sharing their story, about sharing memories that they have. You know, recently there was a huge conversation about what curriculum people used growing up, just like continuing to engage in that way and putting all of this stuff on the clothesline, just airing it out, knowing that you don't have to keep all of this in. You don't have to shoulder all of this by yourself, you know?
Because you know what happens when you don't put out your dirty laundry to dry? It gets moldy.
It gets stanky and moldy. Ew!
We don't want that.
No. Air it out. And like eventually, you know, as we kind of work through today's conversation was all over the place, but I think
I'm gonna have a fun time editing this.
Good luck. But yeah, I think as we, you know, find our footing and get more used to saying all of these things that, you know, maybe we've told people bits and pieces face to face, like one-on-one over the years, but we've never actually like brought all of this stuff to light. And eventually, you know, we will get into conversations about, you know, our mental health and the shitty relationships and all of this stuff, because this isn't just about growing up the way we did.
Right.
Yeah, that's starting from the beginning and how that has affected us as people. And I think it's really valuable for us to be open, especially as, you know, these more oppressive regimes of all kinds, you know, dig their claws in even deeper, trying to keep all of us quiet. And so I think, you know, it could go one of two ways. People could feel more isolated than ever, or we can start to kind of just be loud about it, because we were taught that it's not right to talk about this stuff. We were taught not to say bad stuff. But like I was saying, why is it okay for my abusers to start smear campaigns and slander me publicly and affect my career? Why is it okay for them to do it? Why is it not okay for me to do it? Not that I'm going to start a smear campaign.
That's what this podcast is all about.
That's not the kind of person I am, you know, but you feel me?
We're just opening the door.
We're opening the door.
Yeah.
And ultimately, like, it would be super, super cool to hear from other people about their stories and what kind of stuff they lived through, and just, you know, just putting it out there.
Yeah, we have open ears and open hearts. We need ideas for things to talk about too, because we have a hard time nailing it down because there's just so much. So yeah, if you have anything in particular you want us to talk about, we'd love to hear that. But we'll keep showing up regardless and just ramble.
Yeah, at the moment, we don't have any official social media for Clothesline.
We have an email address.
We do have what's our email address?
clotheslinepod@gmail.com.
clotheslinepod@gmail.com.
That'll probably be our handle everywhere.
Yeah, we will get to that point. But as of right now, where can people find you on the internet?
My other podcast is Pickles and Vodka, a mental health podcast found wherever podcasts are found. My personal Instagram is @xtinajumper. I don't post a lot, but I'm on there. I'm lurking. And I have a Substack, xtinajumper.substack.com. That's where you'll find me mostly. I do a lot of writing about traumatic shit.
We can put all these links in the description, right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. You do the back end stuff. I don't know how it works.
What about you?
Like I said, I am not really on social media, but I am on Threads. So I have Threads, Instagram, and a Facebook page. All of them are @House Ghost Creative. I do painting, and I'm kind of getting into doing some artist markets around here. So the best place to hit me up will be on Threads at House Ghost Creative. Otherwise, I can't guarantee that I will see things in a timely manner. Probably there on Threads or emailing our podcast email will be the best way to connect with me personally. But like you said,
it's all in the show notes.
Yeah. Sweet.
How do you feel?
I was kind of freaking out earlier, but I feel pretty good about it. And I'm actually like pretty excited.
Me too. Episode 1.
Yeah.
Done.
Definitely some imposter syndrome.
Yeah. Don't worry. That'll never go away.
Yeah. Like I've ever known any different.
Right?
But how are you feeling?
How are we gonna? I'm good. It was kind of a rough day before this, so this is actually like one of the highlights of my day. I feel kind of peppy now.
Yay.
I'm gonna go on a walk and maybe do some journaling.
That'll be good.
Maybe do some drugs. Who knows?
Heck yeah.
Are we supposed to like have a catchphrase or like a goodbye, a send off thing? How?
Thank you, Jesus.
This is the hardest part.
Thank you, Jesus, for this podcast. You are awesome. We love you.
Okay, bye. Clothesline Podcast is a labor of love by and for survivors of religious trauma. If you enjoyed this episode and want to support us, share Clothesline with a friend. To sign up for every new episode, subscribe for free at clotheslinepod.substack.com. Want to go the extra mile? Support us on Patreon and get access to bloopers, journal entries, and more. If you could relate to this episode, we want to hear from you. You can follow Syd on Threads at House Ghost Creative and Chris at XTinaJumper. We hope we'll see you next time.